Hey, what's up? In this tutorial, I'll show you guys how to create that nice snoot effect in Photoshop. So, if at all you don't own a snoot in real life and you can't create this effect on set as you're trying to take your images, this tutorial is for you out there that are willing to use or create this very same effect using maybe Photoshop or any software that you prefer to use. But this tutorial is a Photoshop tutorial and I'm using a newer version of Photoshop 2020, and I'm going to be explaining that later on in this tutorial because the step I'm going to be using is going to be a short one and it is part of the new Photoshop versions. But if at all you have older versions, I'm also going to be showing you guys another technique that you can use. And for a snoot effect, let me show you guys the before and after for this very image. So this is what we want to be achieving from this image, and the image or the effect right here that I'm using, I'm going to put the link in the description of this very video so that you can check it out and you practice with it later on in your free time. So I'm just going to come and I'm going to select these two layers and I'm just going to come and delete them so that you can learn everything from the very scratch. So the very first thing you have to do is duplicating the background layer by hitting Ctrl J or Command J on the keyboard to create a copy from whichever layer you have been working with. So the next step is going to be simply dragging that effect and laying it on top of this layer. And in order to do that, I'm just going to come and I look for my effect right here and I'm going to drag and drop it into Photoshop. Then hold down the alternate button and move it just like that. So I just want it to fill the image up to like the shoe area. So release the alternate and click to move it just like that. So I could as well continue alternate and drag it so that it fills up the image up to maybe the shoe area. I think that looks fine, and I'm going to hit enter. So you can see that the effect is going to be occupying this very area of the image. So the next thing that we want to do is selecting the subject. So I have to first of all come and deactivate this snoot layer effect, and I'm going to select this layer that we created later on. The reason that's why I told you guys the Photoshop version is because the newer versions of Photoshop have this select subject option. So if at all I come to select and I hit select subject, it's automatically going to select the subject for me. And if at all you don't have this option in your Photoshop, you could as well opt for maybe the pen tool and you make a selection around your subject. So this is more of a shortcut to selecting the subject. And after I have been able to select my subject, I'm going to come back and I'm going to unsee or reveal my snoot effect layer and now come and select it. So right now my snoot effect layer has been selected. The next thing I'm going to do is coming right here to the layer mask icon and I'm going to click on it just like that, and as you can see it has now activated the effect, but the effect is affecting the image instead. So we want the effect to be affecting the background instead, and in order to do that we have to invert this. So I'm just going to come and I'm going to simply hit Ctrl or Command I on the keyboard to invert that effect, and you can see right now it is affecting the background of this very image. So the effect is now looking maybe it is white in color, and that is not what we are trying to go in for. So what I would love to do, or what I would prefer to do, is creating a blend mode that is going to reveal this very effect. So for the blend mode that I'm going to be using is going to be coming to normal right here, and I'm going to come to multiply, and this creates a very nice effect, and you can see that we have been able to achieve the effect within a short period of time. So like you can see I have a very rough edge right here. I hope you can see it. So I want to delete it from the image and create that nice transition within this very image. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to my brushes, right click and get a soft round brush. So make sure hardness is at 0, opacity and the flow at 100. So, and make sure I have black on top. Remember, my brush has to be black in color, and start painting over the white mask to delete the effect. So I'm just going to come and delete the effect from affecting that area, just like that. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to simply come here and select the Snoot layer and blur out that effect, filter, blur, and come to Gaussian blur, just like that. And I could blur it out so that it can blend well into the image. So I think that looks fine, and I'm going to simply hit OK. So basically that is how you can create a Snoot effect in Photoshop. So let's see a before and after. So this is the image initially, before, after. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to simply show you guys the second technique. So I'm just going to come and I'm going to delete this, and so that we can start from scratch. So the very first thing I'm going to be showing you guys is simply coming and selecting the background layer and simply hitting Ctrl or Command J on the keyboard and drag in my image so into my Photoshop, and I'm going to increase on the size just like that, and I hope you can see this. So I'm just going to do it at the rough way, and I think that is where we are right now, and simply hit enter on the keyboard. So if at all you don't want to select the subject, I'm just going to come right here and I'm going to make sure I select multiply, but remember it is affecting the overall image, so I want to eliminate the effect from affecting my subject right here. So I'm just going to come and I'm going to create a layer mask right there and make sure the black brush is selected and simply paint over the subject to eliminate the effect from affecting my subject, just like that. And you can see that this is more of a shorter technique, and I could come and eliminate the effect from affecting other areas of the image, just like that. Then come back right here and simply come to filter, blur, and come to Gaussian blur, and you can come and blur out or reduce on the opacity of that effect. So it is the very same method but different approaches. So if at all you have loved this tutorial, don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe this channel. If at all you have been watching from this channel for the very first time, Ronnix from Ronnix Photography, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in yet more tutorials, and don't forget to keep practicing and keep creating.